Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. There was a bunch of topics up in the air about what we were gonna talk about today, and one of the things that I actually planned on making a video midweek, but just got too busy. I was actually helping out with my fiance's business this week, so I didn't have time to make that video. Was Star Citizen's response to stream snipers. And Zylo went on Spectrum and made a post about it, and we're going to show it here. I'm actually going to read it to you live on stream today. And I might be blocking a little bit of it, but we'll read it. He says, "Hi everyone, we've recently received a lot of reports detailing excessive griefing and would like to take a moment to openly address the feedback and share our stance." Very important that he says excessive griefing. I'm a streamer, obviously, make YouTube videos as well. And I fully believe that the second you turn on your stream, you are more likely to get attacked, okay? It is part of the job. It's how it goes. You hit the start streaming button, you are opening yourself up to more attacks. And I don't consider that griefing necessarily. It's just part of the deal. For a majority of these matters, a PvP solution is preferable. Frequently, when these scenarios are reported to us, we encourage those who feel they are being targeted to rally with their friends and orgs in an attempt to fight back. We're not here to protect players from aggressors, pirates, and PvPers. A big part of Star Citizen is about that dichotomy, that epic clash that occurs when opposing forces meet and rally others to their cause. The wars at Jumptown were a prime example of the exciting emerging gameplay that can blossom when a lawful player comes face to face with an outlaw. Now, I have a lot of things to say on this, and I got very aggressive on stream a little bit earlier about it. The PvP solution, while preferable to CIG, is not viable to the players in a lot of scenarios, right? So I'll give an example. I'm out mining or cargo hauling, doing a non-aggressive, non-combat related action in Star Citizen. I may have people in my turrets. I may have other people watching my back in other ships. But the game of Star Citizen is so out of balance and so broken in terms of combat, and they've put zero focus on it clearly, that the fact that missiles are unable to be taken off with countermeasures, the fact that missiles are overpowered, time to kill is maybe a little bit too low. I think that that's a whole nother topic of discussion probably. But on larger ships with large shields, I definitely die very quickly to missile attacks and certain weapon attacks like mass drivers in the current patch. So saying that a PvP solution is preferable, I would argue that resolving your issues with combat is much more preferable, because then we will actually be able to do those things. Right now, people who are stream sniping, griefing, whatever you want to call it, they're using these broken game mechanics that you've allowed to stay there, CIG, for far too long to abuse other players. And I think that's more the problem than somebody looking at my stream, figuring out where I am, and coming to attack me. Second, you mentioned Jumptown. There is nothing for these players who want combat to do than attack other players currently. And they will do anything they can to enjoy their time in this game. And if it requires them to find out where somebody is, because space is really big in Star Citizen and there's only 50 players per server, they're going to use a stream to do it. So creating a more exciting, more engaging combat, like I mentioned earlier, and giving something for these players to do. Honestly, like we're seeing in 3.9 with some of these more unlawful missions, but I'd like to see more for a player like that to enjoy outside of the NPC missions, if possible. But I think we're a little bit ways away from that. In general, I think people that are stream sniping are just bored. I don't blame them. I get upset and I make fun of them for a few seconds, and then I come to that realization over and over and over again that these guys are just bored. All right, so let's go on to the next paragraph. However, there is a line that is occasionally crossed where players go outside the bounds of immersing themselves as a pirate/PvPer. Some users are going out of their way to leverage live streams and other mediums to excessively grief. Very important, excessively grief. In many of these cases, it's no longer about enjoying the game, but rather disrupting it. Stream sniping, pad ramming, firing into armistice zones, or utilizing various exploits to grief others. These are just a few examples of excessive griefing, which we do not tolerate. If you find yourself on the receiving end of this, we are more than happy to investigate, and cases where it's warranted, we will absolutely intervene. Simply reach out to us through our support page here and make sure to provide as much information as possible. In addition, better monitoring / preventing excessive griefing. We're also exploring a number of in-game changes that should help considerably. More info on that at a later time, and of course in the future, the law system will also play a stronger role in creating consequences for unlawful behavior. Now, again, the law system, you're not going to be able to kill anybody that's using overpowered and easily abused game mechanics. So the law system comes into zero play there, because you would have to kill that player in order to send them to jail, right? On top of that, with jails coming in, people are going to grief a lot more to end up there at the beginning, and then it'll eventually iron itself out. The in-game changes, hopefully they're removing the player list from the server, because that's the easiest way to find out if you're in a streamer server. Next, I think even having chat on by default might be one of those things as well, because people can type things and find out, oh, I'm on this server. But in general, I don't think stream sniping is excessive griefing. I think it's just part of the job, and one of those things where a PvP solution would be preferable if you actually focused on things like that in the game instead of a chocolate bar wrapper. That would be one of those things that I just don't fucking understand, why something like survival mechanics are taking precedence over certain things like making the combat a little bit more engaging and more interesting. I don't see the point of something like the actor status system at this stage in time when the game is in the state that it's in. I think there is other low-hanging fruit like these options here to make things a little bit more interesting for people and to create that emerging gameplay. Even though that emerging gameplay might start with the stream snipe, it could create some really fun scenarios and some really cool things. But at the current state, you're just a sitting duck and you die, and it fucking sucks. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and we will bring on our first caller, who's one of the mods actually here. His name is Kazu, and we have a few callers actually in line, which is nice. And I wasn't sure if this would be just a topic where I'd be talking a lot, but at the same time, I think this was a very polarizing thing. I think a lot of people think that CIG is going to kill you for PvPing, or ban you for PvPing, excuse me. We don't know what the punishments are. They were extremely vague. All they said is they would absolutely intervene, and I don't think they're going to intervene much at all for people unless it's certain people that affect their bottom line. Streamers like Lyric, streamers with 500 plus viewers. I don't think they're like Captain Richard probably, but I don't see a lot of 5-viewer streamers that are getting stream sniped by people. I guarantee they're probably going to be left alone because they don't have a big enough voice. So as a lot of people on the non-streaming side of the community feel that they're going to be abused, I just don't think a lot's going to come of this. I think that they thought the statement would probably disrupt this. And the reason that we're even doing this today is I had possibly 2 occasions of stream sniping on my playthrough today where I was cargo hauling, and there was a group who met me at Levski and killed me there. And then I was on a random part of Yella mining for over an hour and was killed by a massive amount of swarm missiles. So in order to find you, you would most likely need stream sniping mechanics in order to do that. Am I reporting those people? No. They're just bored. I don't blame them. And, if it does continue to escalate and get to where I feel it's excessive, then I absolutely will take my video, edit it together, and send it over to CIG. And honestly, I'm just curious about what they'll do. So, sorry for the very long intro, but we don't have a lot of calls today, and I really want to get my opinion out there and kind of be on the side of, I hope, most of the community, where when it hits the line of excessive and ridiculous, that's when it's warranted to take action as the streamer and send something and into CIG, but it has to be really excessive for me to want to do that. All right, first caller, what's up, Kazu? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me on. Shout out
Yeah.
to all the Twitch chatters.
Oh crap! I forgot to do one thing. We talked a little bit earlier, and what
hmm
because we were kind of building a little conversation together here this afternoon about it before we decided that this was going to become an actual show. And do you want to kind of touch on some of the things that you said?
Yeah, sure. So it's a mix of what you said and I said, and it's kind of a mix. Okay, first of all, I don't think stream sniping, one-time stream sniping, even if it's blatant, should be a permanent ban from the game.
I agree.
Um, You agree, right? So
Yeah.
the reason why is there's always this blurred line, and also for the streamer who presses that go live button, you have the option of trying to protect yourself before.
Yeah.
So trying to get an escort, maybe not all streamers can do it, but Mike can definitely do it. So the I guess it's more content also for you.
Yeah.
So
I
you'll
see
get
it as
more
I
of
see it as
the chat
content.
protecting you
Yeah.
as you do stuff.
Us
So it's
versus
kind of
them. That's
cool at
always
the
a
same
great
time.
scenario.
Sure. But I like to address the subject in a different angle
Okay.
because we're talking streamers, and obviously we have less streamers than actual players. But we should talk about the issue in terms of, in my opinion, not stream sniping, but the possibility of harassing or like stalking
Anybody, right?
players in the game. So anyone is open to basically think about it this way. This is not a normal MMO, right? So in a normal MMO you have gold currency, for example. So you go do your stuff, you put it in the
The bank.
safe, you have it there, it's
Yeah.
always there, no one can steal it for most of the MMOs unless you carry it in
Yeah.
PvPers.
You have
Anyway,
insurance on
mostly you won't
your
be losing. The
armor.
point is you won't be losing all your progress in one go. In Star Citizen, if I'm actually playing the game without buying 200 plus ships, $200 ships, and I'm actually grinding in-game currency to buy a ship, once I get the ship and I get uh, stalked by the same group with the same player for many days, and then my progress, which is, for example, a ship that cost how much, for example, SaltEMike, a good ship, how much does it cost in game currency?
Like a prospector would be something that people would want. It's like 2 million credits.
How long does it take to grind that?
Couple
How
weeks
many
maybe
days do you
for
think?
an
Okay,
average
couple of
person.
weeks. So how long did it take you with the Carrack to die as soon as you came out of jump
I was dead before I could even
today?
gain access control to my
So
ship.
seconds.
Yeah,
Okay,
seconds.
so you were dead within seconds with a ship that cost more than the prospector, I assume, in the
Sure.
game.
Sure.
Um, it's insane, right? So they wiped your progress. So CIG has to address this as their game design relies on you having these amazingly priced ships in game or not in game. Obviously, if it's not, if you didn't buy it with in-game currency, then yeah, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be able to buy ships in with in-game money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if someone's continuously doing this, an individual or a group, then we should be able to report them. Now, I'm playing Mountain Blade Bannerlord right now. They're
Mm-hmm.
having a beta, and they did something that I like. So they do have a report option.
Okay.
It's just in their forums, so it's a very simple one, but it's not public. So you can't just post a reply to that forum thread. Instead, you just DM one of the community managers with proof. So they have like a format. They're like time, video proof, name of the individual or group. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you can do it in Star Citizen. I think you can if you target them, but you had
I
some
don't think you can
problems
report
finding out
players.
their names.
No,
But they should,
I wanted to find out
yeah,
their names to see if it was the same people that have been I would say slightly harassing me
right,
over the last couple weeks. I wouldn't call it
right.
excessive
So
griefing.
if you do get the names, you should be able to at least report it to someone. Like they should be reaching out for this issue with a simple forum thread that's locked that you can DM with a format. with some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So currently, there's no way of reporting any players, correct?
Because they don't have a game that supports a CS department, or they don't have in-game GMs. Like, there's no game masters in game, right? Like, that's the thing about this. This is so crazy that this is a problem in a game that doesn't exist. Like, there is no game, and people, like, first off, imagine griefing people in Star Citizen is, like, the best part about this.
Imagine.
And, like, how I look at it is that these players, I can look at it in a number of ways. These players might be upset, and they may have been, like, long-time combat pilots that are just like, fuck this, man. Like, combat's no fun anymore. I'm just gonna tear people apart. I don't care, right? Like, that's why, like, I don't blame any of these people, because it might just be them letting out their anger towards the game on other players or whatever. That doesn't make it acceptable or anything like that.
I think it's a very mature way to look at it, and I commend you for it. And we also,
that doesn't mean that they're not being immature, though.
That this is happening at the current state of the game. If you're hoping for a fully fleshed out game, this is going to be even more of a problem.
Yeah, a huge
for
problem.
example, you got you're seeing landing pad ramming, and they're actually acknowledging it in that post you showed before.
Yeah.
So all these little stuff that they call grief, I don't think people should get permanently banned for it one time they do it. But if you start targeting people, individuals, and you keep doing this consistently, and if the player that's being harmed gets proof of you doing this, then he should be able to report you at least.
Yeah.
And then the consequence should be decided by CIG. I don't think it should be a light thing. There should be a warning system. So 1, 2, 3 strike.
Yeah. And what do you think about this topic from lethality? This is the one that I don't. This is the reason we're having this show. Is this comment, lethality? I don't think CIG should change the game or approach to moderating it in the slightest. We live in a time of live streaming games. That's a choice people make, no special treatment. Now, here's what I think. I think I'll reverse that on you. Just because I hit the live streaming button doesn't make it okay for me to get harassed. Just because it's less likely that you will get harassed doesn't mean that it opens up the idea that I am just allowed to be harassed then, right? So again, how I started the show out today was very simple, that I do believe when I hit the start streaming button that I am more likely to get attacked. Getting attacked is okay, but taking it to that next level, which is exactly what this post says, is a whole nother story. And that's where I take issue with things. And the thing about this is that they also need to make this response not just for live streamers, because it's not just live streamers being abused. There needs to be a response to this altogether. Like, I'm open up. Listen, I open myself up to harassment more often, but that doesn't make the harassment okay, guys. That's the issue here. Right. Just because I hit the live stream button doesn't make it acceptable to be harassed. It opens it up to me more often, but it's not acceptable.
He's live streaming, and it makes him more of a target, correct? But it doesn't make you guys less of a target once you start doing stuff in the fully fleshed game, and people are trying to revenge kill you or steal you or grief you in the game. Now, I'm not like a Care Bear. Me
like neither. I welcome it
and stuff like that. But if someone's targeting you, I haven't had that happen in a game before, I'll be honest, but I do see the potential in Star Citizen, especially because, again, your progression doesn't appear in the form of levels. It does not appear in form of skills. It appears in your ship. It appears in your gear, and that, unfortunately, can be taken away by people who are targeting you consistently. It's not just a one-time thing we're complaining about.
No.
He's not even mad about it. Like, I guess in the moment, it's annoying.
In the moment, it's annoying, but right after,
he has the bird's eye view to understand that this is currently the beta, and Mike also understands that
it's an alpha, sir.
The gameplay is not okay. Sorry, it's an alpha. Excuse me, it's an alpha. Listen. All I'm saying is it's a good point of view it's a good point that you made. The game is not there yet, and this is why it's giving them a reason to start griefing stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. But we should be able to report. We should be able to report stuff like this with proof. They can demand us like prove us that this individual or group is continuously targeting you. Why isn't this in place yet? What are
Yeah.
we doing?
Yeah. Exactly. So, and somebody says the alpha should expose these PvP exploits, shouldn't it? I mean, stream sniping is not a PvP exploit. It's just stream sniping. It just gives you a better chance to find out where people are. But the problem is that the exploits that have been in, and anybody who's saying, bring more friends, and you're just coming to the channel while we're live streaming right now, I've already addressed that. The way PvP works currently is fire as many missiles as you can, because you can't countermeasure them off.
Yeah.
There's no engaging PvP. There's no reason to bring friends.
Can I ask you, as someone who plays this game a lot, not as a streamer, what would you do to reduce the amount of stream snipe? Because different games have different ways of doing this, like you said, the player list, etc. Can you give us more, like, for example, do you think the ships should blow up this fast?
Okay, I would remove the player list, because that's ridiculous. If they're in your party, you should see the player list. I think it's way more engaging to message somebody through a chat, walk up to them and talk to them in VoIP, and add them to your list of people that show up on your list. Then it's a way better way of doing things, is to magically come across somebody and become friends with them, rather than having a list on the side of the screen and knowing every single name that's in the server. I think that's a little bit weird. The other thing is, I do think time to kill is a little bit too low for whatever reason. I was killed in a Carrack today. Huge ship, big shields.
Low or fast?
It's too slow. It happens too quickly. Like, I died in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So it needs to take more time.
Yeah.
Give you an opportunity to be able to disengage from the fight. But also give you an opportunity to engage back as well at the same time, right? That was the point of shields, is what they told us, is to prevent like alpha strikes like that. Well, it's currently not working. So hopefully CIG looks at that and addresses it over time. All this does is just open up that dialogue and allows for more balance in that way. We're just not seeing them balance these things. And the only other argument I would make is make more engaging gameplay for these pirates, and I think they're pirates. I don't think they're griefers necessarily. I think they're just bored pirates, to actually engage with people. When you blow them up, make it, instead of just blowing them up, give them a reason to maybe, hey, transfer me half of your cargo, transfer me all of your cargo, or I am going to blow you up, right? You don't have that ability to do a lot of those things. So for me, I'm not so concerned about the stream sniping. I'm concerned about, these guys are bored, man. They got nothing better to do. Give them something to do. And a couple pirate missions is not it, right? They want emerging gameplay in the game, but they need to put
Mike,
elements in game to allow for that.
There's prison gameplay coming up. It's going to improve piracy. Never mind. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Kappa.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we bring in our next one?
Not really. I think stream sniping is always going to be in every game. As soon as you press that go live button, it is what it is. It's on the streamer to protect himself as best as he can. If it's not showing the server name in different games, for example, or bringing escorts in Star Citizen. But I do think CIG should at least give us some kind of place to report consistent harassment by individuals or groups. If it's just a simple forum thread that's locked with a format that I can give you proof, and I'm not saying permanently ban someone. I'm saying, like, get on the case here, and CIG needs to respond. And they said they will respond, but I don't know in what shape or form.
Yeah,
but hopefully we'll get something. As you said, it's still in alpha, so
yeah. The punishments just aren't there. And the thing about this is, this has been a problem for a while now, and there really hasn't been an address issue. Like, I can think back to the days way before Jumptown, when it was just like we were going to security post Korea, and I remember watching WTFosaurus get stream sniped over and over and over again. People using exploits to kill him, all these terrible things, and they didn't do anything for a while. And it was just one of those things that you just have to deal with it, and we all just have to deal with it. I think, I think I just want to stand here and be a representative for the streaming community and say that we're not all Care Bears and that we don't want the special treatment either. We want to be treated just like everybody else. And if you were being excessively abused and griefed constantly, I would want somebody to do something for you, and I would want the same thing to happen for me. Just because I'm open for it more often doesn't change that. Yeah.
Exactly.
It doesn't change the fact that I stream. It just means it's going to happen to me.
Yep.
It's more likely to happen to me, that's all. And especially me, because I'm an asshole. But, yeah, that's
exactly.
Really it. Right? So, all right.
Yes.
Kaz, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to bring on Qualms. Thanks for popping in and getting the show started today. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Enjoy.
Yeah, man. Be good. All right, guys. Bringing on Qualms. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey. How are you?
I'm well. So,
Good morning, man.
we've had a long talk before we brought you on, so I apologize for that. But what do you?
No problem. I was listening in.
What do you think so far?
I mean, I read this post and I thought, like, what a second. I mean, in all honesty, this is, from my point of view, is not the way how you solve the problem. Not even close.
Okay.
It's basically, it's like, even putting a sign up for anybody who likes to stream snipe, as you want to call it, and you see that if you do this shitty thing like I did, I was sitting in the airport and didn't have anything more to do, so I actually looked into the replies, and it all becomes come back again to Care Bears versus hardcore, and actually that's, in my opinion, that's not the point. It's, if you look at it, it's how they formulate it. I think they wanted to address the latent problem of people getting fun out of stopping the fun of other people. And stream sniping is just a little bit of or I would say a small part of the overall problem. In that case, as everybody sees it. Like for example, when you were shot down a while ago, I was like, oh man, I would have loved to see how much money they actually made. Because I was sitting there drinking my coffee, getting rid of my jet lag, and like, oh yeah, I would have really loved to see how much money you got out of your mining session. Full. So for somebody or for the guys who killed you there, they know they get some gratification out of, like, I killed this guy, and there was so many people who now get angry, and I'm the cool guy, and nobody knows it, and they didn't even catch me, ha ha ha. Which, yeah, well, that's it. I mean, that's the point. But in the problem, as far as I see, is we're looking at an eighth of a game, maybe a 16th.
Not even.
Yeah. So there is, everything in the game is half baked. And I like, the cool part about it is that I love being part of the development process most of the time. I mean, at the moment it's too slow, but anyway, you see how stuff develops, how it's come out, and I know this is just is not fully there. And what annoys me about it is that, example, pet ramming. Yesterday I flew my Karak for the first time, and I really tried to get a rover in it. And it just didn't work because I had somebody in my back who was like, oh, cool Karak, and now he's landing on an outpost to drive the rover in it. And had fun about toppling my Karak over while I was driving the rover in it. And I said, like, why? I mean, there's nothing, you get nothing out of it. Okay, you're bored, but, well, then stop playing that half game. Huh? That's the whole thing.
Nobody wants, like, that's the thing. We all want this game. So it's so hard to not play it because you just want it to be great. And then they'll do stupid shit like this because there's nothing to do in the game. Yeah,
exactly. But or these little things. I mean, who thinks that you get gratification out of the pure fact that you can actually drive a vehicle into another vehicle? I mean, this is, if you look at it, take a step back and look at it, it's like, what? This is fun for you? Yeah, it's fun for me. But people are like, But again, the coming back to I think that these, especially pointing out the stream sniping in that way without any even slight idea, any hint, and Kazu already pointed that out pretty good, I think, and you as well, is it's just like, oh, don't do this because we don't like it. And errors, oh, you love streamers. Oh, streamers are better player than us. No, I don't think actually that CIG sort of thinks that. Maybe a bit in the marketing part, but not really. They should have. There needs to be, if you do a post like this, and that annoyed me. You have to have something in the back to say, look, we see it. We know it's half of a game. And we don't like it because it's stopping testing, it's stopping the fun of people, it's not how we intend the world to be. And here is the way to do it. As Kazu rightfully suggested, look, here's a forum post. So if you have this, we look at it, we see it, we tell people off. I don't know how to do it because some people get a lot of like gratification out of, oh yeah, now the mods tell me off. Huh?
Yeah.
But it's, as I say, this whole post is a provocation or a way to like, oh, do it more. That is the main part which annoys me about it. It's like it's pointing it out, but not doing anything.
Yeah, it's like what Scarlett said in chat. Don't worry, we're planning a plan.
Yeah, and we know how. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we don't worry. We planning to have a committee. We make a pillar. We are planning to make a pillar who then talks about it and gets a plan out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good thing. The other thing, and that is, I think, even more, and this is where in the bigger picture, where CIG has to think about, they have to come up with something valuable, is that's a numbers game. And what I mean by that is it's a bit like poison. If you look, for example, at cyanide, yeah, cyanide is 250 milligrams of cyanide kills an average guy.
Okay.
80 kilogram guy, 250 milligram. So you don't need much to kill that. Griefers are the same. So you don't need a lot of griefers
to kill a game.
To kill a game.
Yeah.
I think they know really that. Small. You think so?
Yes. And I think they may look at it from a different perspective. Now, hear me out. I don't want to sound like one of these egotistical fucks, but I don't think this really necessarily applies to me. If you look at people like, I don't know, the Jam Jar's somebody that's been getting abused a lot lately by the same people that are abusing me occasionally. And imagine if Lyric, Giant Waffle, Nick Paulum, and some of these really big streamers, Burt Black, right, that have been playing Star Citizen, are constantly getting abused like this, and they do, and they will. CIG, that is a marketing opportunity as well. That it doesn't just necessarily ruin the game. And guys, I'm sorry, streamers do deserve certain streamers, but I think some streamers in general do deserve some special treatment in that sense. And I think that that's why they're getting the quote-unquote special treatment, because the idea is that CIG doesn't spend money on marketing. Therefore, in a lot of cases, these bigger streamers that don't play the game very often and have an audience that is not necessarily familiar with Star Citizen, so I don't put myself in that category, they do have value to the game. And when somebody is coming into the game and going outside of the spirit of the game to ruin someone's fun, I do see why there may be a response from CIG. And there was never a response before, because it was always people like me, Bad News Baron, WTFosaurus, people that their majority of their community already know Star Citizen, already owns it. But now people where a majority of their community do not own Star Citizen, do not know Star Citizen, and those are the people getting abused. That's why there's a response. And I know that that's partly why the community is now biting back at streamers and calling us all sorts of names and Care Bears or whiny streamer or whatever. because they do see that aspect of it, and I see it too. We've been dealing with this for a long time, the consistent Star Citizen streamers, and there has been no response. And now new people come in, and there is. That's where you start to see that special case scenario, and that's not a good thing. It needs to be everybody. It should have always been everybody from the very beginning. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I'm glad that there's a response. It just needs to stick to excessive griefing, excessive abuse, and not your standard PvP scenarios, which you are, as a streamer, you are more open to. I don't think the general idea of looking at someone's screen, saying he's over there, and going to attack him is the issue. It's the way you go about it, how often you go about it, and if you're preventing someone from enjoying the game altogether over and over again, where the player who's attacking you's gain is very little, other than the disappointment of the person being abused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't look at it from the point of view of the big streams because I don't watch them. So it's basically it's always, for me, Star Citizen stream watching is always mainly you, to be quite honest, because you fit in my weekend schedule.
Yeah.
A bit of WTF Saurus, a bit of the Architect. So it's the smaller part where I'm looking at. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if the moment where the streaming becomes part of the marketing, you have to do something for it. But you can turn that around as well. And Kazu already said that point clearly. Also, is it's not about protecting the streamers. I mean, I would get upset, or a little bit upset, but not really, because come on, it's 5 people. So I don't care.
Yeah.
But I would be upset if they say, okay, specific stream. So if the big streamer TM is streaming, so he becomes his ships get automatically indestructible or something like this. Mm-hmm. This would be a bit strange. But what happens in stream sniping is this, or the mechanics they use to stream snipe is the same they use to annoy anybody else who just wants to play the game.
Yeah.
And this is something I think we as a community need to see that. That's the bigger picture. It's not, yes, it's the streamer and blah blah, and he's so cool, and oh man, why does Mike get more special treatment, and just because he's crying, he's not getting better. No, it's not the point.
I'm not getting special treatment. I'm just getting abused more than you are.
Exactly, because you're easier to find. That's the whole point. Yeah, and but it's the same mechanics. It's the same.
The action is still
thing.
A problem. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah, and it's like you getting pad ramped. Yeah, it's on stream, so your 200,000 viewers, you will get there. Your 200,000 viewers see that you're getting pad ramped, and everybody is like, oh, yeah, but I'm getting pad ramped as well. And for me, it's the same annoying thing, because I have a full caterpillar standing there, and I'm so happy, and it's the last line, and it's half of my money in it, and I go in. Basically, that happened to me. I walked out. Caterpillar was rented also, so I walk out of the in Port Odyssey, and I just see something crashing in and pushing it over, and everything is gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's annoying for me as well. And it doesn't matter. There was no stream. Nobody was looking at me, what I'm doing at this point in time.
Yeah.
But the result is the same. So,
but in my opinion, that scenario is not reportable based on this post and in general.
Yes.
And would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is actually, I think you formulated it far better than I tried in the beginning. Is it's the excessive griefing part. It's the griefing part they need to address. That is the whole thing.
Did that person grief you? Yes. Did they excessively grief you? No. They just pushed your ship over one time. Now, if they are constantly jumping servers and trying to find your name on the server list and find where you are and do it over and over again, that warrants some action from CIG.
Yeah. Or I would say even turn around a bit, say, like, if this one person is pet ramming everyone on one server in Port Olysa, because that was in my case.
Yeah.
That's excessive as well. It's because it's not one person, but it's a set of persons spawning or flying off of Olysa. And And that again brings me back. Yes, they pointed out in the post, but which bringing it back, which annoyed me is, man, you can't just posting it is not enough. They should have sat down, and it's not too complicated, especially if you look how other games are doing it, especially if you, and again, Kazu pointed out, especially if there are people who look into stuff, they should have said, okay, excessive griefing and stream sniping. We don't want this. It's not part of the focus. It's absolutely shit. And again, as you said, I mean, even if you have an escort, let put a point, even if you had an escort today, wouldn't matter as long as if it's always the same people finding you.
Yeah.
Because the missiles still kill they kill the escort. Yeah, well, ha ha ha. Then the escort's gone, and maybe you would sort of made it out of it, but the part of the game which they're using is still broken.
Yeah.
And what escort protects you from somebody firing into an armistice zone or pet ramming you? This is always like, oh yeah, get an escort and then everything's fine. No, it's not the point.
The game's too broken for escorts at the moment. In general, agree with that statement, though. It's just not viable today.
Yeah, exactly. It's the point in time we are talking about. And we can, I mean, I think there are ways to deal with it, to bring it down to a point where you can say, okay, we get it under control. There always will be grieving. It's an MMO with PvP, so there will be people coming in whose sole way to display the game is to annoy others. But you have to have in-game mechanics that it's complicated and it's hard for these people to get there. And then there's reporting that you say, okay, if some people do it, then we ban them. But we ban them, so he just makes another account and does again. So banning is always a half thing, because again, these people don't do progress, because they don't need progress. Their progress is annoying other people, so they don't care. They at the moment you can use a starter ship to annoy everybody. You can use Aurora to push something off, and
so true.
It's but the coming back again is they need something at the moment, in my opinion, and it's not just a post like this, to get a bit of control on the whole thing while they're ramping up, hopefully in the next 10 years. Sorry, needed to say that. The mechanics in game, and I see a lot of stuff. I think prison is the first step in the direction, and having more having more PVE, and that's the fun of being criminal as well. I mean, what is the fun of being a criminal at the moment? Honestly, what is it? You go there,
there's 2 missions maybe.
Yeah,
mission
or
types.
Even when exactly, and even going for PvP. What is the fun about blowing away blowing away a miner who's mining his own business on Yella?
Yeah,
this is not criminal. This is for me that's completely bollocks. Why should I do this? It's
I want to make it very clear is the moment that okay, I'll give an example real quick. The moment where I felt like I was actually being excessively griefed, I was mining on Yella, and I got jumped by somebody, got killed. And I was like kind of way out of the way from an outpost, and I was like, this is a little weird. But I didn't think much of it. Then I go back to the same place. As I'm jumping to Yella, as soon as I jump into Yella, I'm killed by the same player. And I'm like, all right, probably getting stream sniped. So let me switch to a scene where I'm not showing anything. I show nothing on the screen. I switch from a US server to an Australian server. Don't say anything to anybody. I have sound off completely. Nobody knows what's going on. I've now jumped to a moon. I think it was in around Hurston. I jumped far. Okay. Jumped to another moon. Went to an outpost. Flew very far away from that outpost. Flew down and started mining. Within 5 minutes, I was dead. That's when it would hit I feel like it's hit the excessive line at that point.
Oh, definitely. Definitely as a stalker.
And this was before this post came out, and I had spoken to somebody in CS about it, And I was like, is this something is this against the TOS? This is something that we can talk about? Because I know it had been happening to other people. And it just hadn't been happening to me that much. But at the same time, I said, you know what? It might start crossing the line and making it excessive, but I don't think yet. I don't think it's warranted to kind of try and take these guys out yet, because in my opinion, it's more of an issue of the game not being where it needs to be, like you're saying. That's the solution to the problem, not me going and crying wolf to support to try and get people who are maybe a little honestly as upset about the game and the state of it as I am at this moment. So I kind of just let it go. But I would say that that's probably a place where it's approaching that line of excessive.
Oh, definitely. Come on, that's stalking. I mean, that's seriously stalking. If you nobody knows where you go because you have up your normal stream and just talking something about it, and then you found again. And same as today. That I hadn't a clue where you were. I saw it. Like okay, yeah, maybe. Oh, but finding you, and that's clear. You know, that's definitely those guys today that was so obviously went for you.
Yes, but now can I jump in and say that, like you were saying earlier, is if they gave a reason for those people to, I see there's more callers, so we're probably going to cut it off here in a moment.
Yeah.
If they created a reason for those players to seek out minors and kill them in order to profit, then what those guys did on that day, and this is why I didn't report them, if those guys did what they did on that day, I wouldn't think that was crossing the line necessarily. Because just because they use my stream to find me, that's part of the deal. You know, it is unacceptable. It's against Twitch terms of service. It may eventually become against CIG's terms of service. If it is, it is. But in my opinion, it just makes it a little bit easier for them to seek me out, kill me, and gain from me. But at the moment in time, there is no gain. So the only thing that they're gaining is the reaction they get from me, or just knowing that they're ruining somebody's time. And that makes them feel good for whatever reason. You know, I don't know what goes on in their life, and I'm not going to speculate about them. But although I have many times on stream when I got upset about it.
Yeah, you're allowed to. You're allowed to.
At the moment I get upset. But Qualms, your last thoughts here before we get going.
Well, honestly, I think the two of us, nice chat. As usual, chat. I liked it. Absolutely. And I want to point out your last point because that was perfect. It's shitty as long as there is no gain out of it other than annoyance of people. Yeah. Then the whole thing is shitty. As the moment there's game out of it, as you said, the point in time you press go live on your stream, you enter risk. Mm-hmm. And everybody should accept that. But right now, it's a bit dangerous, and I still think they shouldn't have put up that post without at least a little bit of concrete countermeasures or reporting infrastructure.
Yeah, I think they have reporting infrastructure. I mean, they put a link to message support, and that's pretty much what you'll have to do for right now. But all right, we're continuing to get some callers, so I'll pop out now.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me.
Yes, no problem, Qualms. Have a good one, buddy. Real quick before we jump to those callers, we do have tweets as well, because we didn't think we were going to get that many callers, but of course, as discussions go on, people formulate their opinions and end up wanting to pop on the show. So we had Desmond, who said, agreed, anonymous server listing as standard. Friends and org members listed should be fine for grouping, allowing players to disable beacon notifications on their HUD so people can't use them to find you. Hope building blocks, Moby-Glass adds subchat and fixes it. The focus is on banning is a poor solution. I agree. It's a bad solution. We should focus on discouraging server hopping and targeted attacks, not punish people that do. Prevention is the best medicine. Security, not vengeance. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it really comes down to their first post in general that is the issue there. That they want us to use PvP as a response, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. They just need to make it possible. At the moment, it is just not possible to use PvP as a response. So, with that said, and I'm trying to just get my Photoshop up so I can bring in the next caller's name. Especially, I told him we wouldn't take long because he was on his phone. I feel bad. It's like a real sports radio show where people have to wait. All right, so we're going to be bringing on Bribe Guntails here. And we are ready for him. There we go. All right, Bribe. How you doing, man?
Hey, thank you. Don't worry, I'm on my desktop now. I've been on my desktop for a while.
Oh, it's taken so long you got to your desktop. I'm sorry. Well, you sound great.
Yeah, in the time it's taken, I've gotten out of bed and had a snack and gotten to my computer.
I feel very strongly about this because I feel the community's reaction is just not warranted. I think that they didn't really read through the post very well and don't understand the actual circumstances of things. I think we all should be able to enjoy Star Citizen, and just because I stream it doesn't mean I should be able to enjoy it less. I think in general, I should probably be able to enjoy it more because not only do I get to play the game with a few people in-game, but I also get to play it with people watching and reacting and having a good time on the chat side as well. That doesn't make me any less allowed to be griefed or abused or whatever. So, all right, so what are your thoughts, Brad?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree because oh, hang on, I'm losing my words at the moment. Yeah, spontaneous groups and parties. One example I have is I tend to do that sometimes. For example, one streamer by the name of ClassyPax.
Yes.
Yeah, he streamed Star Citizen twice recently. The first time I managed to join him on his character, and we tried doing some impromptu missions, and it went pretty well. We didn't have any griefing, so to speak, and yeah, we generally enjoyed it ourselves using voice comms and getting everyone to grips with the game. The second time he streamed, I wasn't able to join personally, but we saw cases of so-called stream sniping, but not for the purposes of griefing, instead for the purposes of creating something exciting for the viewers to watch.
Exactly. That's why I feel like
ClassyPax getting so-called abducted, a big fight, gunfire, running away from freelancer fire, all that cool stuff.
Yes. Do you mind if I jump in for a second? The stream sniping is banned on PUBG, right? And does anybody remember Banana Man from PUBG and Shroud? If you guys remember that experience, it was a player coming into PUBG and finding Shroud and talking in like a little kid's voice, and it created this back and forth that was really entertaining. Regardless, it was a very... Oh, and Wadu Heck, right? There was all sorts of hilarious situations that came about that. But stream sniping is not allowed in that game. Those players were instantly banned. Right? And this is where, like, your point is so huge, is that stream sniping shouldn't necessarily be a bannable offense, because there's positives that come from it too, where in general, stream snipers create content for streamers, and not just PvP wise, is they can stream snipe you and say funny things, do weird stuff, and make things more entertaining. I don't think the act of stream sniping is the problem. It's the excessive griefing that is. It's very important to hammer home and really put the microscope on that statement, those two words. Like, your point is huge to me.
Oh yes, I'll admit I'm guilty of so-called stream sniping, but not for the purposes of griefing. Instead, to join the.
How else are you gonna find the guy? He's too busy doing 12 other things on stream. He's not gonna be just interacting with you to get him to be able to play with him, right? Oh, yeah.
This is RSI Bravo Romeo India requesting permission to land on your 890 jump.
Yeah, exactly. Coming on and doing that and being like, "Oh yeah, you have permission, sir." Like silly shit like that is what it's all about. It's the when you take it across the line is when it becomes an issue, and I think that's what the community isn't necessarily recognizing.
Yeah, and that's something I believe that the mechanics of the game should be able to keep under control, such as prisons and consequences for doing illegal pad ramming is.
Yeah.
I believe pad ramming is something that is being exploited, though, because it's supposed. I believe vehicular collisions are supposed to give you crime stats, and pad rammers don't seem to be suffering from that.
So it's just like another in-game issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Actually, if you look at the terms of service for the game, Section 3, Rules of Conduct, there's 2 points. Interfere with the ability of others to enjoy playing a RSI service or take actions that interfere with or materially increase the cost to provide an RSI. That second part's not important. Interfere with the ability of others to enjoy playing an RSI service.
Okay.
That's one point of the rules of conduct. Second one, exploit errors in design, features which are not documented and or bugs to gain access that would otherwise not be available to obtain any competitive advantage. I think that one's a little
vague.
applicable.
Yeah.
Such as for missile spam. Broken missiles.
Is that the player's fault or is that CIG? That's been that way for like a year. Are you gonna blame players for using that stuff? I don't know, man.
I guess so. It's a gray area.
Very
it's not
gray.
Complete. But I say that pad rammers are the kind endemic pad rammers, pandemic pad rammers, people who are
coronavirus pad rammers.
Such people should be reported with evidence and should be temporarily suspended or given warnings, or otherwise discouraged out of game.
Whatever CIG
the mechanics come online.
Yeah, whatever CIG decides the punishment appropriate is fine by me. Whether it's a stern warning or take a couple days off or take a month off or eventually be gone forever kind of thing. That's up to them. That's not for me to decide. All I can do is do the due diligence so they don't have to. I think a lot of other people made that comment as well. Like, we should not be wasting CS time on that. Like, listen, dude, this is exactly what CS should be doing. CS should be dealing with in-game issues. We should be having game masters and thinking of that idea relatively soon as we approach having an actual game. CS people should not be unmelting your ships for you in your hangar and doing all these other things like they have been for many years at this point. They should be
removing ships from your hangar when you do this shit.
Yeah.
Temporarily.
Yeah. So, all right, Bribe, we got to bring in a couple more callers. So, is there anything? Holy shit, the list is really long now. So,
Okay. So
we'll have to make
another
it quick
idea to help protect streamers is they should be able to control the amount of information visible on their streams.
I disagree.
Online, they should be able to blur, for example, chat windows, locations, the location they're in the game.
I couldn't disagree more.
Information that would be. Go ahead.
I just don't think that they should be making special treatment for streamers in that way. Like, streamer mode is a thing in a lot of games.
Access. I think it should just be control, user interface control, or something like that.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Many games have streamer modes, but in general, you're okay. Let's go from here. Let's use the example of we don't want them to waste development time, right? No matter what, we don't want them to waste development time. In general, a streamer mode is not necessarily wasting development time because it does have benefits. The more streamers you have, the more eyes you have on the game, the more money you make, so on and so forth. So there is value to it. Now, streamer mode in Star Citizen, all of the things that you gave examples for are the fact that there's only one server, or the fact that there's multiple servers. In general, there's going to be one server for Star Citizen once we have server meshing, right? So the idea of not showing your chat, not showing what missions are popping up, not showing what other things that give away what server you might actually be on, and if they're on the same server as you.
Applications could be useful for non-streamers and streamers.
Exactly. So I think a streamer mode may need to be a thing at some point, but in general, Star Citizen's landing zones, moons, locations are all so unique from one another, and that's what makes Star Citizen great. Everyone's going to know where you are anyway, so it doesn't really matter as far as from a UI perspective. But if they do make the UI customizable, and that benefits everybody, then I have no issue with it.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you one more because I kind of took over that. Is there anything else you want to add? I'll give you some more time since I
don't think so, other than as the mechanics come online, time will tell how things go, and we'll just have to, CIG and us will just have to adapt from there.
Yeah, I agree. All right, man. Bribe, thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me here.
Anytime, dude. Anytime. Great call. Thank you.
And please don't blind me when I so-called stream snipe you.
Oh, don't worry, man. I can't. I welcome it and look forward to it.
/greet 3. All right, thank you for having me.
Later, dude. All right, real quick, one more. Oh no, I'm on the wrong thing. So hold on. We'll do a tweet after our next caller. I'll get it all together. So Blazemonger, welcome, dude. How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing? Good day to you, sir.
Good day. How's it going? So, what do you think about this whole thing? Am I just a filthy casual that I shouldn't get special treatment?
No, I think that there's a lot of points to be made for both sides of the equation, to be honest with you. In all fairness, I think CIG is way too quick with the post that they put out, and it's way too vague.
It's way too vague. I don't think it's quick, though. It's been a problem for years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem that's there, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is something that's been touched on several times. Stream sniping itself is not a bad thing. In very many situations, it's actually good because it provides content.
Exactly.
And it provides unexpected content, which makes something interesting. It provides an interesting situation.
Yeah, and it's one of the only situations in Star Citizen that you can find other players outside of the major landing zones in the current state of the game right now, because 50 players per server, big map, right? Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely value to it.
And it's one of the few things that actually provides gameplay.
Yep.
So in that sense, it's good. The problem is, though, that for one, there is not really a counter if you get aggressively stream sniped. You're dead, period. And a stream snipe is not something that provides really a two-way situation. I mean, in other games, stream snipers are actually deemed a bannable offense, both by, as you mentioned, Twitch, as well as the game terms of service.
Yeah.
But most streamers don't care because they purely see it as content because they can get something out of it.
But when the game's competitive, it does get frustrating.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get too upset about Star Citizen. There's no competition to it at the moment, at least.
No, and I think an interesting thing was I was watching Jam's stream the other day where he was actually stream sniped a couple of times.
Yeah.
So what he did was he got a well fitted out fighter and he said, "All right, if you want this, come at me, bro." And nothing.
Yeah, of course.
So he showed where he was. He showed where he went. He literally said, "If you want to snipe, here I am. Come at me." And nobody showed up. And that's the thing. Right now,
they don't even want to give you content. They just want to ruin your time.
No.
And I know who it is. It's the same 3 or 4 people. Like, that's the other thing that people don't recognize. This issue is literally 4. I think it's 4 individuals, and that's it in the entire game that are causing issues.
Yeah.
4 people, and they probably should all be banned, in my opinion. But I think we should. This post has been made. Everybody should go through all the steps. They should go through all the steps, and we should see what happens. Yeah, and I think they call themselves a pirate org, but they're Piracy doesn't exist
No,
in
they're
Star
not.
Citizen yet. It just they
No,
didn't put in the
exactly.
game mechanics.
Yeah, I agree, and in that situation, I definitely agree. With regards to griefing, and I think that's actually a more serious
Yeah.
problem because it affects anybody.
Mhm.
As was correctly said, if you want to pet ram somebody, that's fine, but
Yeah.
make something out of it. Make content out of it. Hold somebody at ransom. Go the route. Okay, dude, we just saw you come in. We know that you got some juicy stuff on there. Give us so much credits, or we're going to blow your ship off
Yeah,
of the
dude.
pad. That's how
I'd
that should work.
I'd welcome that so much. I'd be like, well, I think my
Yeah.
hull has like my like, when I died just today, I think we had close to 100K in our mole. It wasn't a great haul, but it was a decent one. And I would have said, all right,
Yeah.
I'll give you 50K if you leave me alone. And if they say no,
Yeah.
I'd go
And
up to 75. And then if they wanted more than that, it'd just fucking kill me then. It doesn't matter. I end up with nothing anyway.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with other games as well, where you can hold somebody at ransom. I mean, Eve is a good example of that, where you can hold a hauler at ransom, bump him off a gate, keep bumping him off a gate until he pays you, and he's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. And if another thing that comes in there, once you get lootable content, actually lootable content, then it becomes viable gameplay because
Exactly.
you can make a choice.
Exactly.
Is going to hold this person ransom worth the risk of me losing my ship and my stuff? And that's fine. There's
Because then
nothing wrong with that.
Because then it becomes a
Gameplay.
risk on both sides. It's not
Yes.
just the risk of the person being sniped at that point. The only risk is right now is the person being sniped. If there's an ability to loot each other, there's risk on both sides,
Yeah.
and that's when it gets kind of cool, I think.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's the one thing that I mentioned in chat. Actually, I see now there was another thing that Jam did. Obviously, he's an RPer, so
Yes.
he knows how to create content out of nothing, basically, and he's really good at that.
Yeah. Me,
and that's why
not so much.
people like it. No, but that's fine. And I mean, and I don't mean that too bad way towards you.
Oh, I know, but
he
it's just one of. He can use it to his advantage.
He got into. Yes, he got into a guy's ship. He got into the guy's toilet in the ship because he left his door open. The guy takes off. He comes out of the toilet. The guy didn't even know he was there. He pulls his rifle and he goes, "Give me 5,000 credits or you're dead."
Yeah.
Perfect. That's gameplay. The guy decides to self-destruct, which is obviously not what he wanted to do. But
Because again,
you know what I mean?
it's a
That's for
gameplay
me.
issue where there's no
Yeah.
downside to dying at the moment.
Yes, and it's the same thing for me at the moment. And I still wonder how CIG is going to address that. There is no loss in this game. You don't lose anything. When your ship gets destroyed, you wake up, you retrieve your ship, you pay
everything's there.
you pay the money for the claim, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now, what I would prefer I mean, I get people buy ships, so taking the ship away is not going to be a good idea. But if you want to claim a ship, that's fine. You get it back with the original modules, with everything in original
wow.
state,
Like-
anything you expended.
That's so weird. Just the way the game used to work, and they decided to change and make it casual.
You know what I mean? It's like,
It's
take
just-
everything off, strip it. I mean, if you want to get it back from insurance, get it back without anything. You have to buy all your weaponry. You have to buy all your components.
Weird. I feel like I've
That
said
is-
that before, and everybody said it was a bad idea.
No, I think that would be an excellent idea. And I think that will solve a lot of problems in the game right now because a lot of people will not find it worth their time, not find it worth their effort to grind back money to be able to do that. It solves a problem. And for those of us, and I would say I'm one of those who would actually find that interesting, that angle interesting to go that way, please, can we get that tomorrow?
Yeah. I'm just tired. I'm tired of I'm tired of the fact that we have things like the actor status system coming online and not
Yeah, we're eating a chocolate bar. We can unwrap
through
it,
our
but
fucking helmets.
we need to push it through our helmet.
But guess what? The plastic on the chocolate bar crinkles so much. Your immersion is so great.
Yeah.
I bet you there's going to be a
Yeah.
smudge on your helmet. There'll be a little chocolate smudge.
And for me, I mean, I've said it previously. I'm not actively engaged in the game for very long now, but one thing that I notice is that within the development of the game, there are so many pillars and so many teams that people lose track of what's going on.
Yep.
And there doesn't seem to be a central hub, central focus point that basically directs the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm missing in the whole development of the game, and I mean that's not really relevant to this topic, but in a way it is, because there's also things that's being spoken about in the community that I don't hear back at all, and the people that should maybe
falling on
relay
deaf
it,
ears.
I don't think they're afraid to say it, but they know it's not going to work, so they just keep their mouths shut.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things. We have to see how it goes. As I said, stream sniping in itself, and that was the problem I had with the post. It was so generic and so vague that it doesn't clearly explain what the issue is, because stream sniping itself is not the issue.
No.
That's actually something that you should, I won't say you should encourage, but it can be fun, and you should be able to say, look, we know that this can be fun, so we're not going to go for the stream sniping. That's not the problem. The problem is when you consistently and absolutely with overpowering force take away the enjoyment and the fun.
Yep.
Because if that happens and they lose a streamer because of it, that does damage, because this game is a very public game that relies on exposure to grow.
Yeah, look at a guy like Morphologist, somebody who comes from outside the community, makes really good content, is now instantly on the top of the referral list with like 5,000, right? Like, multiply 5,000 times 45, and you know that's not, nothing, right?
And the thing is, Morphologist is part of a community, Armco, which is huge.
Yeah,
they're the kind of community. If they go into a new game, they instantly bring 2,000 people in.
Yep,
1,500, 2,000 people easily, and those are all people that are potential people to stay around in a game. And I've seen it a few times with them now. And if somebody like that goes, this is, you know what I mean? He basically creates a negative image that instantly flows through that community. That community has their own hooks and angles into other communities. So that's something that obviously CIG doesn't want. So that's one of the reasons why they are paying attention to this.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's not an easy thing to solve.
No.
I mean, I've been in a number of other games where the issue also plays. In the EVE community, mostly it's seen as it's content.
Yep.
And you basically just deal with it. But there, it's minimal, and it's a lot of it is actually fun and in good spirits. So far here, it's people who have a daddy with a bigger credit card get a hammerhead, and they start bumping people off of pads for no reason.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
But
with all due respect, those people need to go.
Yeah, probably. But all right, Blaze, we got to get some more callers. I really enjoyed your call, and you made some fantastic points. So thank you so much, man.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
You're very welcome, sir.
Bye now.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, and our next thing we'll do real quick is go to Jeff Murray on Twitter saying, if CIG goes out of its way to protect one person in regards to stream sniping, they must protect all persons, of course. We totally agree on that. Now, bringing in our next caller, and we're going to have to keep them pretty short, is Mr. Hodo. Hodo, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. You hear me all right?
I hear you perfect, loud and clear, buddy. So just before we start, we'll have to kind of keep it slightly short because I'll have to be getting off relatively soon. I apologize.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right. So what are your thoughts on everything, man?
All right. From my point of view, I am a PvPer. I'm a pirate. I'm not one of those pad ramming pirates or those people who hunt people just to make them cry.
Perfect. I really want to hear
don't like-
that perspective.
I hate pad rammers with a passion. So
Yep.
I avoid Port Alizar like the plague because I don't think that's a place a pirate should be. That's a noob zone. That's not a place I want to hunt from. If I go there, I'm watching ships leave to track them.
Yes.
Or I'll drop a cargo box on them and track them.
Ah.
But
Tricks of the
and
trade.
that is how some stream snipers are getting tracked without people watching the stream.
Yeah.
So the other issue that you run into with stream snipers is, I agree with Board Gamer, his point of view of streamers have a lot of control over their stream if they can find out who's sniping from their stream. Some of the smaller streamers have a lot more control because they only have 5-10 people in their chat. So it's kind of easy to narrow it down who's sniping them, who's not, and then just ban them. Once you got them out of there, they can't snipe you.
Okay, Board. I love Board. Board is not much of a streamer, okay? Banning somebody from Twitch doesn't prevent them from watching. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
So now you ban them from Twitch, and now you have no idea if they're watching. Now, if Board goes from the standpoint of, I have my list of people that are watching, and I can see that and refresh it regularly, and I know if that son of a bitch is watching, then that's a different story. But banning them does nothing. People can also watch in incognito windows. I do that all the time. Right? Like, there's a specific streamer that I watch in an incognito window because I don't want to be called out in his chat. I'd rather just watch and not be bothered. I don't agree with Board at all. I think Board is Board doesn't stream gameplay enough to know. I think
Okay.
I just disagree. Like, I'll have Board on here tomorrow and we can discuss it and we wouldn't have any problems, but that's not a solution to the problem at all. You do have control over your stream, and you can, prevent people from seeing certain things, so on and so forth, but banning them does nothing.
Well, you can also delay your stream, which I have seen other people do to prevent this. I mean, stream sniping's not a new thing to any one game.
Not at all.
It's been around since streaming has began.
Yep.
Which is kind of I hate to say a pandemic of the time, but that is the nature of the gaming industry.
True.
You stream, you put yourself out there, you give yourself some risk.
Yep.
Some streamers enjoy the risk, they enjoy the additional content. Others deal with people like that specific group that we all know about that go out and just cause issues. They go get an 890 jump.
What's the name of this org? Everybody keeps asking. I can't remember the name of them. They keep saying, give me the name. I don't know their name. I don't know their names off the top of my head. I can't remember the name of the org. MOTD or something like that, I think it is. I don't know. SDC. Okay, there you go. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. That's all they do. They will sit there, and they don't just hunt stream snipers. They will specifically go after new players. They will specifically go after
Matadors,
other people.
Too. Yeah.
I'll say the Matadors aren't as bad. The Matadors,
they're the ones who've been abusing me. That's who I've had issue with, is Matadors.
Matadors just go out and cause issues. They don't pirate. They just kill. They don't care. But I don't consider them griefers. I just consider them morons with guns.
I think they're starting to cross the line of griefing. I haven't thought about reporting really yet, but it's getting there for me.
I mean, they've tried a few times on me. I'm not a streamer, and all I've done to them is just outran them. You can lose them pretty easily when you don't have a stream, which is an advantage. But again, with streaming on the topic, you can there are ways to kind of mitigate the issues. Using alternate accounts, not letting people know if you're actually on a specific account, or just going and facing it head on. That's the other issue. Others have gone and brought entourages, like Morphologist with his 15-man protection, group that comes with him.
What if you don't have that ability? Does that make it okay?
No, it doesn't make it any easier or okay. But again, it's one of those. It's risk that you're kind of accepting, which sucks. But I don't think it's CIG's. I don't think the way CIG worded it, I don't think it's their responsibility.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it's their responsibility to make sure that people are enjoying their game, and I think it is their responsibility that if somebody is being abused, for them to take action. Now, what the actual abuse is considered is something they didn't really lay out in that post very well, and I think that's why a lot of the community is angry at streamers because of it. Is they're letting their anger out at CIG on the streamers because they know that streamers will try and abuse that scenario if they can.
Well, it's like I don't personally hold any streamer responsible for this. I think you all are players like I am. The difference is you just use a different platform to get your gameplay out, which is awesome. Yeah. But blaming the player for CIG's jump of logic or misgivings is not the right answer. I can't go and hold you responsible because CIG decided to make, the Hornet the second best fighter in the game instead of the best fighter. That would be stupid.
Yeah, or just in general, missiles the way they are, and so on and so forth. I don't hold these that's why I haven't reported anybody. I don't think that it's necessarily their fault. And would you agree with me that, like, being a pirate, since you don't have a lot to do, you do tend to resort to these type of things? Not necessarily stream sniping, but just trying to create tooth and nail, trying to create some sort of interesting content for yourself when the game is so spread out and so just not there.
No, I just use tools, the same tools that a lot of the traders use to find my content. I will use Galog, Versemate, find out where the trade routes are. I'll just ask in global, hey, where's the hot trade routes right now? What's selling here? And then I'll go sit at that outpost.
Okay.
Everybody ignores a freelancer because it's a freelancer.
But a freelancer's badass.
Freelancer's the best pirate ship in the game.
Yep.
Drake is horrible right now.
Okay.
But that's kind of the issue right now. The only other issue I have is not completely on topic, but it is about piracy. And it is the fact that they keep adding more risk and less reward. There's nothing for me to really continue being a pirate other than going out and just doing these 10K claim jumpers. I get a crime stat. I lose access to 90% of the missions, and they don't come back when my crime stat goes away.
Yep. Some people, like, what's your response to this? Because I keep seeing the same person type this, and it's starting to drive me up a wall. So I'm just going to respond to it. I should have to learn PvP so I can challenge them when I come. So as a pirate, what's your response to that? How do I learn how to PvP in my Argo Mole? Can you give me advice?
You don't. I mean, it's not a combat ship. It's not even capable of combat. It is exactly what it is. I mean, that's like telling the noob when you blow him up with a freelancer miss after you fired 42 missiles at him at his Aurora. Get good, kid. Get good, noob. That's not PvP. That's just, cherry picking. That's why I generally don't hunt miners. I don't bother with prospectors or moles unless they have a bounty. Then, I'm sorry, you had a bounty.
Now, what will happen when you can actually gain from killing a prospector or a mole?
In that case, it's game on. I'm going to give you an option to either drop your load that you currently have and go mine somewhere else, or pay me, or I blow your ship up and take the wreckage.
Agreed. I'm with you, 100%. I want that to be very clear, that I welcome all of that kind of stuff. I really do. I'm not against any of it. Will I get mad when I die? Fuck yeah. But I still think it is totally warranted and not one of those things that CIG should prevent from happening at all. And stream sniping is just going to make it happen more often, but that's it. You know. But
Yep.
all right, Hodo.
My
Anything else
last
you want to
thing-
add before we go? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, my last thing is I just want to say this now. Love your show, but the Carrick is too damn fast.
It is, isn't it?
It matches the performance of a Gladius. That's a problem when it matches the light fighter speed.
You're just mad you can't catch it.
Oh, I can catch it. I have a Warlock. It can run down most any.
All right, buddy. Hodo, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for your insight. That was very important. I'm glad you were here today, big time, because a lot of it was just like, yes, streamer, I agree with you. These things are not good, but I needed that perspective of somebody who plays on that side of the game where I don't, and that was very, very valuable to the discussion. So thank you so much, and I hope you're here next time we have this discussion. Maybe not about stream sniping, but about any sort of aspect of the game that ends up coming with pirates as well, which is it's going to be most things, I think.
All right. See you next time.
Later, dude. All right, so our next caller is Bellatar. Bellatar, what's up, buddy?
Hi, Mike. It's been a while.
It has. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. How do you do?
I'm doing okay. Doing okay. I have a stuffy nose, and I work in a casino, and I'm a little bit nervous about it.
Oh, and in the current times, that's actually enough to get you nervous. Well, I hope everything turns out okay. It will. It will.
If I die, I'll leave you my Aurora.
That's so nice of you. Thank you very much.
You're
welcome. I'll keep it in honor.
All right. So what are your thoughts on the whole subject?
Well, it's such there's so lots to unpack, and I think listening to all the callers up until now, there's one point I would like to stress, and that is that there are and will be solutions to this entire topic of griefing.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm on board with those people who say stream sniping is not itself griefing, but it is just a tool that some people use.
That griefers use. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, correct. The issue with that is that the actual possible solutions to address griefing in a systemic and in-game way with risk, reward, and all that kind of stuff require for a lot of systems to be in place and for those systems to be well balanced.
Yes.
And as this is an alpha, a lot of systems are not yet in place, and they may be not coming in for quite some time. So you actually have to look at some kind of band-aids to encourage griefers, because you do want to have people you do want people to have fun in your game currently. Okay. So what I think about as solutions to griefing, a lot has to do with actual consequence. If for instance, if you are attacking someone and the consequence is not only you get a crime stat, and then maybe at some point you get shot down by the police and nothing happened because you haven't lost anything. That is not really consequence. It's just a minor delay, but if you're an asshole, you're going to accept that. If that goes the way of systems in the sense like in-game consequences, where they're I think taking a shot with prison gameplay, which will by far not solve the entire issue, but that which goes into that direction, that may lead to something. They may have to look at things like, and I'm looking very much at insurance, ship insurance actually, as something to target. So you don't just have the option of do nothing or completely ban a player, so that you have some kind of gradual approach at disencouraging people, in the sense of at first when you do something, you get some kind of warning by CIG. If you repeat it, if your ship has LTI gets taken away, so you have to go for regular insurance. if you repeat it again, maybe you lose the ability to get insurance overall in the game, so that every time you do something like that, you risk losing your ship. You may have to use another ship or work your way up to a ship again, so that you have some kind of progression in punishment to ever more disencourage that kind of behavior of negative gameplay.
But who decides the punishment? And the game can't logically do that on its own.
Oh, of course it can't. No, that's actually something that a human being needs to do. So that would be on support. That's of course an issue because that takes a lot of effort. But I also think if you start doing that, and you make an example of someone and news get around, this may be disencouraging to others doing so, because if the only consequence is you having to respawn somewhere and waiting for your ship to get back from insurance, that won't stop you. But if you heard of someone who actually got those progressive steps applied to him, maybe that's going to do some. Maybe that's going to disencourage you. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
I don't know how I feel about the in-game stuff. I think it could become like a trophy for people and give more reason to do it than not. Even though that they're punishments.
What way?
For example, people brag about how their fines are in the game, how high their fines are, and maybe having the maximum punishment in game is for griefing or being an asshole is a trophy, a crown that someone can wear.
Well, I don't think maybe that's it's not something. That's not actually something I was thinking of, to be fair.
Yeah.
So that it's just because eventually you'll get to the point if you progress down that path where you may end up not having any ships anymore and having to spend money on the game to continue playing it. If you apply that
at that point, why not just ban? It's the same same concept.
Banning is always the final option. It's just adding steps in between that, so that it's not just that binary in the sense of the only options you have: do nothing or ban. So you have some kind of progression.
Yeah, I mean, I think a little suspension, another little suspension, and then a ban is 3 strikes. You're an asshole. You're out. And then if you come back after buying another account and continue it, just fucking IP ban. And just be done with it. I
mean,
that's just how I feel about
it. In regard to game systems, I think what is also an issue is that you don't that actually, apart from those stupid armistice zones that should at some point go and need to go, you don't have actually kind of a system of zones where you have higher security versus lower security.
I was going to say that.
Also,
yeah,
it's a very important aspect, so that you have, for instance, Port Olisar is that a hub where usually new players spawn. So you create a zone where you don't just technically inhibit shooting, but where there is a lot of AI police force who can detect you, and because they are police force and they are, state-run or an official organization, they have those a little more powerful, a little better ships that when you do something wrong can quite easily shoot you out of the sky, so that you have not this, I prohibit you from doing this kind of gameplay, but if you're going to try to shoot someone at PO or pad ram someone at PO, there will be AI, there will be consequences, and they will shoot you out of the sky. And in addition to that, of course, that shooting out of the sky needs to have the consequence that is held, and not just, I'll wait 5 minutes for respawn.
Yeah, I can't believe that it took until this call for that to really be brought up. It's been brought up in Twitch chat a number of times, and Eve had been mentioned a couple times with nullsec, highsec, things like that. We don't have that in game at all. We currently have this armistice zone system that doesn't work, and their plan is to get rid of it. But it's really hard to call griefing until some of that's in, right? Because that's the stuff. I mean, you can call it griefing, of course, but there's things that they're already planning on doing that should really resolve these things. And a lot of people mentioned prisons, but nobody really mentioned what you did. And I was hoping somebody would get there, and I was waiting till the last call. If nobody brought it up, I was going to, and that's that fact is really big.
Yeah. And that is also the point I started with. You need those systems to be in the game and to actually work, because currently AI is a joke. They were actually just developing the ability for AI to adjust their speed and not be capped at SCM speed.
Yep.
And as long as that's the case, how do you implement consequence when your AI cops, you can just outrun them with any ship?
Exactly.
So, and that is where, and then you need to ask yourself the question, okay, we need those systems for this to become a a better experience, where you have the possibility of PvP and piracy, but also effective consequence. What are the other systems that are still missing? What do you prioritize? So that's always kind of tricky, but I'm very glad they are
very tricky with this game.
Yeah, but I'm glad they put out the post. I don't actually think it's too generic, because I think it is good to start more generic, to just make people aware, okay, we are looking at it and we will act, and then look at the specifics and then act accordingly, and not limit yourself by being overly specific in your first shot and then having to revert course or something like that. So I am actually very much on board with what they wrote. I think they should do something. They should try to do it in an in-game and systemic way, if possible. And if they need to implement band-aids like bans, take away insurance or stuff like that, then that as a band-aid for starters is okay as well.
Yeah. Okay, Bellatar. I think I think you're on point on a lot of that stuff, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you for having me.
As always, talk to you soon.
Talk to you.
All right, and our final caller is King Gear. What's up, King?
Hello.
As someone who has stream sniped me many times, I'm curious of what you're gonna say here.
I don't know. I really don't know what to say. Just wanted to pop on, but I feel like stream snipers in the future will definitely give a lot of content to people that are doing ops, like mining ops or whatever.
Yeah.
So, right, say this game comes out, which, you know, who knows nowadays, but say that comes out, you know, you're doing a mining op, and then you're streaming it. You know, you have like 20 other guys with you, and then someone goes ahead, you know, say, hey, Matadors, we got a whole fleet of, you know, freaking Orions, whatever, you know, mining over here.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, gank him. We already know where he is because he's streaming it. They come in, you know, they start fighting, and then you secretly, you know, being the 5-head that you are, having your own protective fleet that you hired or whatever, come in and then attack, and then this big whole battle, you know, comes up. So there's ups and downs, you know, for stream sniping.
Huge ups.
Right now, I would, you know, agree that it's a down because people are trying to enjoy the game, you know, report bugs, but mainly play the game, and, you know, they're kind of stopping them from doing that. But
the game's so broken that you can't.
It's true.
That's the issue, and that's what I started out the show with, was they want us to have a PvP response to the issue. I agree with that 1,000%, right? Hire friends, anything, have that PvP response. But the current state of the game, and this is the state of ship combat forever, is that it doesn't make that accessible. Because you have 47 missiles shot at you, and there is no way to avoid them, and you're fucking dead instantly. So, sure, CIG, I'll give you my PvP response. My PvP response is, why don't you try playing the game every now and again, and you might realize that that statement isn't really acceptable. Like, that's where I'll take that one. It's just, we want to be able to defend ourselves, so you need to allow that to happen and prioritize things like that. It's just, not good. And I know priorities are priorities, and this is me projecting, and I'm not mad at Xylo who made the post or anybody really, but it's just, I find it funny for them to make that statement when the game is in the state that it's in, and you come out of quantum travel, you have a 3 to 4 to 5 second pause where you're unable to do anything, and at that time the person who is sniping or griefing or in general just straight up PvPing in the way the game meant them to already has you locked on, is clicking their missile button, and there's nothing you can do.
Wow. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
Wanted to hop on.
The voice of reason, King Gear. He just wanted to talk.
Voice of an angel.
Yeah, you are.
Voice of an angel.
Yes, voice of an angel. Voice of a toilet bowl. All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right.
I cut him off. I didn't mean to. All right, guys. That is going to do it. I mean, the show, as always, starts out real slow and ends up picking up. Interesting. I hope people kind of see what the actual perspective of streamers are. I think I share my perspective with Jamjar, with Board. I don't get his statement still. Board, I apologize if you feel like I was at all rude there, but I just don't agree at all with what he said. And yeah, in general, I just think the idea of the excessive griefing being the issue, not PvP, not even necessarily stream sniping. Maybe it's the way they frame the post. I don't think streamers should get special treatment. I think streamers do get abused more often, and Star Citizen shouldn't be a cog to allow people to abuse each other. And that's really what it comes down to, is I really don't want to see things like that. I do welcome PvP, but if I'm just sitting there solo in a Argo, or not an Argo Mole, a Mist Prospector, there's not really much I can do there, and that just comes down to the game mechanics not really being there yet. And it makes it difficult to avoid people and all that jazz. Somebody, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tough one. It really is a tough one. I don't ever want to be treated as a special case. I want to be treated just like everyone else. And I think the issue here is that excessive griefing is open to everyone. Even though it happens to me a little bit more often, doesn't mean that it's not an issue and not something that CIG should be addressing. So, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the show. I definitely enjoyed talking to all of you. I do look forward to the next episodes, whatever we do decide to talk about. Hopefully we have 3.9 coming into Evocati and the PTU pretty soon, and we can start talking about these survival mechanics that are going to be coming into 3.9. I know that's going to be a future episode. I don't know exactly what the next show will be. I usually like to try and have that episode ready, and so you guys can kind of formulate your thoughts. But for this week, that's going to do it. Guys, leave a like, comment below, let me know if you think I'm just being a whiny little baby, or if some of the things that we discussed here are really warranted. And hit that subscribe button for more Answer the Calls. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one, everyone.